Deadpool Supreme, right back at you with another fantastic book review. Joining me is my illustrious co-host. He's gold, he's gorgeous, and the best. And of all, he could be the next reincarnation of Space Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand for Adam Warlock. Hello everybody, and it's good to be back here on the show again. I do not know what we're reviewing today, but hopefully it's a good one. You took the words right out of my mouth. Well, except for many of those other words. but anyway, I digress. Today definitely is going to be a scorcher one today, with temperatures practically cresting 100 degrees and 101 degrees tomorrow. But that's only on the east side. If you guys are living on the west side, it could be more or less the same. But also in the middle states, I do not know. I mean, look at me. I'm not. My attire does not exactly scream meteorologist, now does it? But enough about the weather. Today we'll be reviewing another special Marvel edition, and this time it's a fan favorite. Today we'll be reviewing something very, very special. And she's fiery, she's cosmic, and she has She has the heart of a churn that burns brighter than the sun. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present to you Jean Grey, better known as the Mighty Phoenix, embodiment of the Phoenix Force and all that the Phoenix stands for. So yeah, Today we'll be looking at Jean Grey as the Phoenix in her own solo issue that was written by Stephanie Phillips, Alessandro Miracolo, sorry if I butchered that last name, and David Curiel. You see, Jean Grey here has proven to be the heart and soul of Team First Class, the first band of X-Men. She was the second to be recruited, or at least in non-canon forms. I think she was like the final member back in the 616 canon, but then again, I'm not really sure. But anyway, Jean Grey has already proven to be the second greatest telepath throughout the entire Marvel Universe. The first being, of course, the leader and founder of the X-Men, Charles Xavier. Now, I know he's been getting a lot of flack because of his poor characterizations in most comics, but I'd like to think that Xavier would have the ideal version of Charles Xavier would have been one who was warm, gentle, caring, fatherly, although a tad bit flawed, but he's still but who has seen his fair share of war and troubles that he would want to stand by, that he has a reason to stand by without blindly preaching it. So yeah, and Jean is pretty much no different. She sees compassion in all peoples, human and mutant alike. That's why my headcanon, I had Jean's job go as a senator. Speaking and helping out people across Washington D.C. and the states. Just to show that she is that she's a leader that actually can do stuff instead of just sitting by on the sidelines. Now, with that out of the way, let's get right into it, shall we? Behold, Jean, the fiery phoenix in all of its righteous glory. Of course, any story involving the Phoenix usually starts out with a bang. A supernova, the likes of which that would make the Human Torch look like a mere candle in a hurricane. Also, send off below if you want to see Johnny Storm if you wanted to see a video where Johnny Storm take on the Phoenix Force. I mean, you think about it. I mean, she is like the embodiment of life and death and resurrection all at the same time. But then you have Johnny Storm, who's pretty much like the second embodiment of fire. So, I mean, come on, you really don't tell me you guys really want to see something like that. I mean, not from me, but at least from someone here on YouTube. But anyway, the story starts off with a group of alien civilization on a dying world, basically fearing for the worst. Yep, the first encounter with the Phoenix. Now, this was during a civilization back when the Dark Phoenix had consumed the Jabari sun, the planet of the Jabari, during her time as, well, the Dark Phoenix. Now, we flash forward ahead to the present, and it seems as though Jean Grey has embraced her role as the regular Phoenix, hoping to save countless worlds and prevent naturally occurring cosmic disasters. I'd say she'd make it perfect not only the X-Men, but as an agent of SWORD, the space station that's supposed to look out for people across the cosmos, along with the Galactic Council. And look at this. I mean, look, she is already, truly is the embodiment of a creature that is brought to life through fire and flame. She can definitely give the Human Torch a run for his money, I can tell you that much. I mean, come on, look at that. The story begins with fire, and apparently there's a prison that's centered in the heart of a black hole. Then we join Richard Rider, aka the First Nova. He was also, fun fact, he was also a member of the New Warriors from 1996 to 2006 for a good solid 10 years. Solid 10 years before the New Warriors split up. During a prison break, Nova was not... Rick Rider, aka Nova, was unfortunately knocked out by an escaped prisoner. I do not know who it is, but it will be revealed to us in the next panel. In this canon, Scott and Jean are still trying to work things out. They've already in most main canons, they've established a telepathic link to each other. And of course, we all know that Scott Summers here has a thing for telepaths. I mean, first Jean Grey, then Emma Frost, then Psylocke. I mean, come on, it's pretty easy to see that this guy has a type. She's staying out in the middle. Out in space to fulfill her duty as the Phoenix, and she doesn't know when she'll be back, but hopefully she'll be back soon. These two, now of course, in main canons, these two have actually gotten married back in 1994, and they would have had children, but let's just say Marvel editorial is about as high as a Calypsian kite, and always trying to screw with them using whether it be Cable and his time traveling or Rachel Summers from an alternate timeline. But if I had to fix Scott, now of course I wouldn't have paired Scott and Jean in my headcanons per se, but if it came to fixing the main headcanons, I would definitely have Rachel be the firstborn and Cable being the second one, and Nathan being the second one. I mean, come on, it's obvious that these two definitely have a connection and stuff. I mean, these two deserve to grow old and have kids succeeding them one day as a Phoenix and as a Cyclops and Phoenix hybrid, I guess. Well, but anyway, that's just that's how I would have fixed them, or at least in a different canon. But anyway, and then prison in the midst of a black hole. Let's just say there's a dark villain, Pericus. I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but let's just say he was one of the prisoners who broke free from this prison, and as a result is terrorizing the other prisoners. So yeah. Anyway, Jean arrives on the scene and is determined to kick ass and save the day, just like most any run-of-the-mill superheroes. Thankfully, she comes into contact with Nova. What I like best about this book is that it gives Jean the chance to interact with other cosmic figures, like in the all different X-Men, which involved the time-traveling X-Men that Beast had brought forward in the future, just to see how well their future was turning out. She gets to interact, and she and the younger Team First Class get to interact with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which I like that. I really did. It shows that both teams actually have a lot in common. They're both team of misfits, don't really fit in anywhere. They often cause trouble, sometimes do more harm than good. But the important thing is these guys are families. I mean, they may not be perfect, but that's okay. It's just what makes them who they are. And I like Jean interacting with Richard Rider. Just them catching up and everything. She's determined to save lives, and with this and just like with Spider-Man, with her great power, she has a greater deal of responsibility. By performing the secret ritual cosmic dance, she uses the power of the Phoenix to become the black hole and absorb the eventually join in dance. Jean rose with the rhythms of the universe and tamed a beast older than time itself. She did not fight, nor need to throw a punch, because the cosmos simply did as she asked. She became truly one with the Phoenix, and they become linked. Kind of like Venom and Eddie Brock did. You saw this before in the movies, and in some comics too, or even in the video games. But yes, this is Fiery Jean, a creature that has become one with fire and flame. The one who can make planets stop spinning just from a single glance. See, this is what I'm talking about. She finally could use the Phoenix's destructive powers for good, to help save lives and prevent others from being lost in the process. That she could make. Escape to the prison, not to implode. Unfortunately, Pericus had escaped and crash-landed on an alien civilization, and befriended one of the locals. Now, like most cosmic villains, this guy decides to manipulate the people of this Earth using their hatred of the Phoenix into his advantage. So he kills the girl's father, and as a result, and let's just say, she does not take kindly to this, and as a result, she becomes embittered by both him and the Phoenix. So this just gives her even more people to hate. And meanwhile, Jean is off battling the forces of the universe, including taking on the Black Order. Can you believe that? Jean Grey versus the Black Order. This mofo right here is Corsair, aka Cyclops' long-lost father. I swear to God, some of these X-Men stories feel like overdone soap operas. And not even the good ones either. That could just be my opinion. And look at that. She's already fighting alongside her ex-father-in-law, or future father-in-law, whatever. The canons really kind of play ping pong and stuff with this, table tennis with this. As you can see, the Phoenix Force has taken her to all different corners of the cosmos, answering every psychic cry for help, no matter where the universe takes her. Although Jean Grey is a cosmic entity known as the Phoenix, does not require any sustenance that maintain life, like food, water, or oxygen. At least she doesn't. But even when it's like one of those moments where she's on call like 24/7. She tries to wake up coffee and everything. So even though she tries to settle down for a rest, let's just say the universe has other plans. And stuff like that. Ouch. When she boards a ship, she ends up coming across Corsair, who is left abandoned by his own crew. And given that he was actually, in my headcanon, he's actually a Ravager, from the Guardians of the Galaxy mythos, helps to flesh out the world a little bit more. Meanwhile, Adani, that's the name of the alien girl that Pericus had befriended, motions along with it. So she had to bury her own parents and some of her people on this distant rock. She's become embittered, and wants to kill Pericus, but Pericus has other ideas for her. You wield. A lucky few are gifted with powers at birth. Others will shed blood, and others for the small glimpses of such power. Are you still afraid? To which she calls, I was never afraid. So yeah, basically, Jean. Also, on a side note, I really do like the art style with this. It just makes the characters seem a bit more vibrant, more fuller this way. I mean, the flat 2D style, less textual, dimensional. Excuse. We'll be right back with these important messages. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for we're back. Anyway, as I was saying, the art style. I really do like the art style that they've imposed for these characters, because in the color scheme and the vibe makes it so vibrant, so much fuller, and everything. So basically, so anyway, long story short, Corsair basically needs his daughter-in-law's help. Everything. This is also where it further establishes that Jean Grey, along with like most telepaths, usually respect boundaries and don't usually probe people's minds without their consent. So at least it shows that she has standards. And everything. So remember refreshments and yada yada yada. And stuff. So basically, Corsair was basically left behind by his own crew. On a moon only a few light years from Game World. Apparently that's where he was abandoned from. The Black Order have basically taken siege of a Skrull prisoners. And as a result, Phoenix has come with Corsair. It says, I think I should. You shouldn't get in the way of the Black Order business. I think I should when that business involves kidnapping people. So why don't we skip ahead to the part where you're gonna explain what's going on so I can stop it. So she ends up fighting Proxima Midnight, and of course Gold Obsidian, aka known as Black Dwarf, tries to fight off Corsair. He basically does, because he's technically a lot more bigger than him. Phoenix, in all her power, stops the Black Order from laying waste to these prisoners. But unfortunately, the twist ends up getting here because apparently the Black Order had summoned an army of Asgardian zombies. And yes, you heard that correctly, folks. Asgardian zombies. Meanwhile, in the Quarry of Creation, yep, that's right, or as they call this, the God Quarry. It's basically a graveyard for all gods who have passed on following the Big Bang of the universe. But of course, this quarry isn't always kind to visitors. And of course, then the corpse of their god, of her people's god, rises from the dead and hopes of seeking retribution for those who dare defy his will. Meanwhile, back on one of Game World's moons, Jean Grey takes the fight directly to the Asgardian zombie hordes, all while Corsair is just bumbling around trying to find something of actual importance. So, she has him safeguard her physical form while her astral form takes on the Asgardian zombies. As such, she comes across the human soul of one Asgardian. He says, our souls, he says, Odin judged my followers and condemned us to Hackett, and my sin is loving Asgard. Odin judged me and my followers and condemned us to an eternity of torment. Our souls picked up piece by piece and bound to serve any who would trade their required bodies to unlock our tomb. The Black Order, they are not the first to try to seek personal gain. Hakan. Asgard placed all their trust in a man incapable of escaping the whims of pettiness. Odin, his father before him, and his son after him. Blood is all they know, bringing death and destruction to our people. So this basically just goes to show that not all gods are kind and generous. In a way, the gods are very much a reflection of what we people are, or humanity is basically just a reflection of their god's own flaws. I never anticipated the attack on Odin, but eternal torture. I suppose I underestimated Odin's true cruelty. He says that I believed Asgard could truly be a peaceful nation under the right leadership. Most would not listen to me. They had accepted the poison that for so long it started to taste sweet. Still, I was able to find enough people to support my vision. The idea of a better Asgard, a better future. We fought to end Odin and his entire bloodline. I knew I wouldn't be seen as a hero, much less a savior. But I was willing to destroy what I loved to make it better. Now, you'd think that'd be the mind of a corrupt villain, but given that this is Odin we're talking about, he's definitely the more flawed of the gods, or at least the Norse ones. So Jean does what she can to help use her powers to help. It's time for you to rest, Hakan. It's real. You could have told me all of this was a feather. What feather? It's time for the truth, Corsair. I didn't lie to you, Jeannie. I left out couple of things, some small details. Recently, a map went on sale, the black market, that showed this moon was specifically Odin used to imprison his army of his own men who had tried to kill him. Someone bought the map before I could, borrow it without rendering payment. And why would you want to steal such a map? Before they were defeated, one of the soldiers plucked a feather from Odin's favorite raven. You know how much this feather could be worth? You used me to find a feather? A genie. I didn't know the Asgardian army would turn to zombies honest. That's hardly my fault, and I knew you could handle the Black Order. So, of course, the Black Order, hearing this, decides to put his words to the test. And decide to attack Corsair and Jean. The business of the Black Order was never your concern, Phoenix. You should have stayed on Earth, where Jean Grey belongs. Listen to what I am very closely, Ebony Maw. The next time Thanos wants something in my cosmos, he shouldn't send the B team for it. Tell Thanos he can face me himself, and I don't need an army. We'll see about that, Phoenix. And she basically flexes her cosmic might and sends the Black Order packing in disgrace. After Corsair apologizes and tries to make amends with Jean, he says, "You'll give my best to Scott?" And yes, and Corsair, check your pocket. So in the end, Corsair ends up getting the feather after all. Adani, the god-hater, teams up with the rest of the gods and the Black Order, trying to... Oh yeah, if you can also tell by here, she's also about to face the notorious Gore, the God Butcher, a most feared enemy of Thor, and basically those of Omnipotent City. In the meanwhile, Jean Grey is off celebrating on Throne World, the Throne World, the capital city of the Kree Skrull Alliance. Yeah, she's celebrating with Carol Danvers, a fellow Uncanny X-Avenger. See, this is what I like to call them. Whenever the X-Men and Avengers team up, they form a mighty team called the Uncanny X-Avengers. So we get these nice little character moments between Jean Grey and Carol Danvers, two characters that we never thought we'd actually pair up. Now, I mean, if it was definitely something. Now, this isn't the first time that Carol Danvers has crossed paths with the X-Men before. Her time with Rogue alone is proof of that. But she's come to accept that not all the X-Men are villainous a-holes. Sometimes some of them are just misunderstood. And of course, I actually kind of like Carol Danvers' marching band / military commandant look. The two girls basically have a heart to heart, and Carol reassures Jean that all will be fine. She has the power of the Phoenix Force, but she's not alone in this situation anymore. I know, because we're a lot alike. Turning off the hero inside of you can feel impossible. I'm still working on it, and though you are sometimes made of fire, don't burn yourself out, okay? I kind of like this. This is very sweet, kind of like another sisterly bond sort of thing. Then we join up with the Galactic Council. They of course have their doubts of whether the Phoenix can actually be redeemed or whether it's just another mindless destroyer of the universe. Another example of governments fearing things they do not understand and/or can't control. This just basically shows that aliens and gods pretty much are no different from what mankind is now, a reflection of our own flaws, darkness, and even and fear. Gladiator, or at least in this headcanon, pretty much has a disdain and distrust for the Phoenix. So they turn to Pericus, hoping that he can rectify this. So, after the celebration on the Kree half-world, Jean visits an abandoned temple of creation to relent and stuff like that. You can definitely, the artwork here is really good. I mean, it's and stuff. So that's pretty much a nice change of pace. But also, this is where Jean comes in contact with Gore, the God Butcher. Life here ended here, a fallen god on the soil where the god took too much. Yep. Gore basically explains that this is a town that the people of this world built a temple for a fallen god to appease tribute, but he did not relent. This god became greedy. They pretty much gave him everything they had, and even then it was never enough. So they rebelled, and rightfully so. I mean, God, come on, greedy. When gods get greedy, everyone pays the price. So she fights off Gore the God Butcher using the All Black. A god by any other name is just as rotten. Jean claims that she's no god, but Gore is definitely not convinced. The god doesn't necessitate intelligence. Thor was an idiot and only strengthened my connection to the All Black. The All Black, for those of you who don't know, the All Black was actually the personal blade of Null, the god of symbiotes himself. He created it as his own personal weapon. After it fell to Gore's homeworld, he embraced it after seeing one of his own gods deject and even renounce his followers just out of pettiness and cruelty. Last god I faced believed he could kill me by absorbing my weapon, All Black, allowing the symbiote core to replace my heart. Now All Black is me, and I am it. Now you're just gonna if you're just gonna tell me where to target. Hero in the universe filled with beings that could create just on the snap of their fingers. Who is Gore? From a nameless planet. Even though Jean was knocked out by Gore's might, she definitely comes back no stranger to death. And each time they meet, she only comes back stronger. During the time, as she is knocked out, she comes face to face with Eternity, the sentient embodiment of the entire universe itself. Eternity insists that because you think in terms of living and dying instead of just becoming what? The soul of all that is. From a pocket dimension wouldn't be the first time. I was already the Phoenix, and I have been. What's more to there to become? So Eternity takes Jean to the land of gods. Every single one of them. You can have a nice little entourage here. There's Infinity dancing with, I believe, is the Runner. Epoch in the background. Master, the In-Betweener, the embodiment of the good and the balance between good and bad. In the background, you have the Celestials, the robot space gods. I know that sounds a bit more crazy than it is. The Watcher. I don't know who this guy is, but that's definitely Mistress Death, one that Deadpool and Thanos both vied for. Then you have Master Order and Lady Chaos. I think there is, and there's a lot. Time for you to join us, Phoenix, and become creation. So I like this scene right here where she joins Eternity in a nice little dance and everything. You holding back. She's like, I'm not. You came to the stars because you knew what you needed to become, but still you resist. Why? Because I don't want to lose Jean Grey. Jean Grey is merely an idea. An idea cannot be lost once brought into existence. It may be changed, but never lost. If I let go and become what you suggest, what if I can't control it? You can. Isn't that simple? To a being that does not exist as part of the fabric of the universe, it would be exceedingly complicated. But you are the Phoenix. You said so yourself. And the Phoenix does not exist alone. There is a piece of you in every star, every planet, every being that you have used the Phoenix Force with. You are creation incarnate. So basically, she comes back stronger than ever before, and then uses that newfound knowledge to try to stop Gore at his source. The All Black. Jean Grey is no longer a hero of Earth. It became the most powerful person in the universe. I am not a god, Gore. You were mistaken. A god has limits. And so she uses her power to have the All Black consume the Gore and tuck him into a pocket star. So you know what she does? You have caused so much pain to gods and their followers, but as a star you will nourish an entire ecosystem of planets. And so, be gone! So she basically, so the Phoenix basically turns Gore and the all-black weapon he wields into a star, and uses it to feed and to re-nourish entire ecosystems of planets. This ability was so dangerous that even the Galactic Council was at a loss for words. Gore attacked her and had control of the all-black, and I think you could argue that the Phoenix did what was necessary. Gladiator is still not convinced, but there is a reason that this council exists. The Phoenix stands in opposition to everything we have built, to the order, to maintain order. As they talk, and Phoenix is like, "You know I can hear you, right?" So yeah, all black replaced Gore's heart. Without it, Gore would not have been able to survive. I could not allow him to maintain possession of the weapon. At least this way, something good came from his death. But when I find you, Pericus, enough. Adani, who was still tributed with disdain and distrust for the Phoenix, ends up wants to try to destroy her. But the Phoenix uses her telepathic abilities to try to quell the voices of pain and suffering within inside her mind. A psychic reverb. Voices, you heard all of them? It hurts. I know. She helped to create a psychic barrier to block the voices. You were in my mind? It's like, if I didn't help you, the voices would have killed you from the inside. That sword, the sword she wields has psychic untrained abilities, and if you are not careful... And of course, she can tell she is most offended. And she said, "I will not stop at nothing until Phoenix lays dead at her feet." And, with the help of this world's Thanos, who taking over leadership from the Galactic Council. Yep, it's just like they say, governments any governments don't change unless the people can change themselves for the better. And there you have it. That is the first issue of The Phoenix, Orbital Reconnaissance. So yeah, the artwork of the story is definitely on par. What did you think of the story, Adam? I actually find Jean Grey to be a kindred spirit. After all, we both were battling with our inner demons ourselves. I ended up battling the Magus, and thankfully. Yeah, and just like the X-Men, I bet your Guardians of the Galaxy actually helped you, didn't they? Actually, they did, in more ways than one. Like the X-Men with Jean Grey, they reminded me that that family doesn't start with blood, and doesn't end there either. That you don't have to be in one's family to be one's family. Wow, truer words were never spoken, especially from Glam Rock Space Jesus. I still do not understand that reference, but yes, I had my own version. It wasn't that long ago that I had my own version of the Dark Phoenix saga. I fought to contain, if not to control the Dark Magus, and then even worse when Star-Lord's father, Jason of Spartax, tried to control me and him as a weapon. So he was definitely the truly Mad King. Yeah, kind of in a way like Decan from the Shi'ar Empire. Yeah, I suppose you could say that. I guess you could say our stories do draw some parallels. So I guess I do. I guess I find Jean a kindred spirit, considering our backgrounds and all. A mere reflection of you, basically. Yes, yes, actually, I would consider her to be something of a kindred spirit. Yes. Well, you heard it here, folks. Advanced Glamrock Space Jesus and the Fiery Bird of Creation. Could it be a possible match made in the cosmos? Only, yeah. I'll let you decide in the comments below. Well, we're just about out of time for this week's episode, but be sure to tune in next time when we swing into a brand new, when we return to a familiar universe in hopes of seeing where a familiar wall-crawling web-slinger takes us next. Until next time, I'm Pirate Master Deadpool Supreme, and I'm Adam Warlock, the savior of the stars. Yep, and this has been Chillin' with the Pool. Until next time, true believers, Excelsior. Oh, and P.S. don't forget to pick up Phoenix Orbital Reconnaissance at wherever comics are sold. Until next time, true believers, Excelsior.